Hello, my name is Jay. I want to tell you a story today. It is not just a story, it is about how I learned to communicate in English and how you can too. It has fun moments, silly mistakes, and helpful ideas, like little treasure boxes I found on my way. I hope you enjoy this journey with me. When I was younger, English was like a puzzle I did not understand. I knew it was important, but the words felt strange on my tongue. My first memory of trying to speak in English is funny. I was at a shop, and I wanted to ask for water. I said, "Give water, please." The shopkeeper smiled and said, "We say, 'Can I have some water, please?'" I nodded and repeated the words slowly. That moment stayed with me. I realized being polite makes people happy to help you. There was another time in class when the teacher asked, "What is your favorite animal?" I said, "I am Love Dog." My classmates laughed, but my teacher smiled kindly and said, "We say, 'I love dogs.'" She taught me that small mistakes are okay. Every mistake is a step forward. I decided that day I would never be scared of making mistakes again. One trick I learned early on is to listen. If you listen carefully, you catch the rhythm of English. It is like listening to music. Do you know how people nod their heads when they hear a good song? That is what happens with English too. I used to watch cartoons, and I noticed how they spoke. I loved the show Tom and Jerry, though it had little speech. But when they spoke, it helped me learn simple sentences like "come here" or "oh no." That was my first tip: listen to how others speak. Copying what you hear is a good start. Later, I found something even better: singing. Songs have easy words and are fun to remember. My friend Mia told me to sing along with English songs. She said, "Jay, when you sing, don't worry about being perfect. Just feel the words." So I tried. I sang my heart out, even when I got words wrong. Mia said, "You will sound better the more you try," and you know what? She was right. Soon, I could sing full songs and enjoy them. Talking to myself also became a habit. When I got ready for school, I'd say, "I am brushing my teeth." Now I am combing my hair. It felt funny at first, but it helped me think in English. When you think in a language, it becomes a part of you. That's my second tip: talk to yourself. It's like practicing with a friend who is always there. One day, I met an exchange student named Liam. He didn't know my native language, so we had to speak in English. At first, I felt nervous. What if I said something wrong? But Liam smiled and said, "It's okay. Let's talk slowly." I learned something special that day. Good communication is not about perfect words. It's about being kind, patient, and trying to understand each other. That's another tip: speak slowly and kindly. It makes conversations easier. Mia gave me more advice, too. Jay, she said, don't just learn big words. Use small, simple words that everyone understands. This tip was like gold. I realized it's not how fancy your words are, but how clear your message is. Mia said, think of English like a bridge. The shorter and stronger it is, the easier people can cross it. That changed how I spoke. Now, I focus on making my words clear and simple. One funny moment happened when I tried to impress Liam with big words. I said, I am feeling very elated today. He looked confused and asked, do you mean happy? I laughed and said, yes, just happy. We both laughed. From that moment, I knew it was okay to use simple words. Simplicity makes conversations smoother and more enjoyable. Reading books became my new hobby. At first, I chose simple stories. I read The Very Hungry Caterpillar and Curious George. These books were easy, and they made me feel good about reading. As I got better, I read longer books. Each story gave me new words to use. One day, I saw Mia reading a big book, and I asked, what are you reading? She smiled and said, it's Harry Potter. You'll love it when you get better at reading. That became my goal, to read Harry Potter without trouble. My English teacher once gave us a great tip: when you learn a new word, use it 3 times the same day. If you do that, it will stay in your memory. I tried it, and it worked. When I learned the word delicious, I used it all day. I told my mom, this lunch is delicious. I told Liam, your sandwich looks delicious. And I told Mia, ice cream is the most delicious thing. By the end of the day, I never forgot that word. Another trick I discovered is to ask questions. I remember when Liam said, asking questions shows you care. If I didn't understand something, I'd ask, what does that mean? Or can you say that again? People are happy to explain when they see you are interested. Asking questions also gave me more confidence to speak without fear. Do you know what else helps? Making stories from new words. Once, I learned the word rainbow. I made up a short story. The rainbow loves the rain. They danced together in the sky. This made learning fun. Creating stories makes words stick in your mind like glue. I also discovered that body language is like a friend that helps when words are missing. I remember once at a bakery, I forgot the word croissant. So, I pointed and smiled. The baker understood right away. She said, 1 croissant, coming right up. That taught me that speaking is not just about words. It is about showing what you mean through your actions and expressions. Practicing with Mia and Liam became my favorite part of the day. Sometimes we played a game called word relay. One person says a word, and the next person uses that word in a sentence. If I said sun, Mia would say, the sun is bright today. Liam would continue, bright things make me happy. We'd laugh, and learn at the same time. You can try this game too. It's a fun way to build sentences. Another thing that helped was keeping a small notebook. Every time I learned a new word, I wrote it down with its meaning. Before bed, I read through my list. It felt good to see my notebook grow each day. You can do this too. A notebook becomes like a diary of all the new things you learn. Learning English is not just about words, it is also about listening to others. Once, Mia told me, Jay, when you listen carefully, you understand better. And when people see you listen, they feel respected. That advice stayed with me. Now, I try to listen more than I talk. Sometimes I practiced speaking by pretending I was giving a speech. I stood in front of the mirror and said, "Hello, everyone. Today I will talk about my favorite book." At first, it felt funny, but slowly I became more confident. You can try it too. Speaking to a mirror is like having your own little audience. English also gave me a chance to make new friends. One day, I joined an online group where people practice English. Everyone was from different countries, and we all helped each other. I realized English is like a key. It opens doors to new friendships and ideas. The more I practiced, the more comfortable I became with using it. One thing I never forget is to stay positive. Learning any language takes time. There were days I felt tired or made silly mistakes. But Mia always said, "Don't give up, Jay. Every step, no matter how small, is progress," and she was right. Progress is like climbing a hill. It may be slow, but every step takes you higher. Now, I want to ask you something. What is your favorite way to learn English? Do you enjoy reading books, watching movies, or talking with friends? I would love to hear your ideas and stories. Let's keep learning together. There are so many more tips to discover and stories to share. What do you think? Should we continue our journey? Sure. Let's continue this journey together. Learning English is like walking down a road full of surprises. Sometimes you find a shortcut, and other times you take a long, winding path. Both ways are fun if you know how to enjoy the ride. One day, Liam taught me a game called shadowing. He said, "It's simple, Jay. Just repeat whatever I say right after I say it, like my shadow." At first, I thought it was a bit silly. He started with short sentences. "I am hungry," and I echoed, "I am hungry." Then he made it harder. "I would love a sandwich with extra cheese." I tried to say it right after him. "I would love extra sandwich with cheese." We both laughed. I mixed up the words, but that was okay. The point was to keep trying. Shadowing helps a lot because it makes your brain work quickly. It's like training a muscle. Your mouth gets used to English sounds, and your mind becomes sharper. You should try it. It's a fun way to practice with a friend, or even with a YouTube video. Just pick a speaker you like and repeat what they say. It doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is to get comfortable speaking without stopping to think too much. One of my favorite memories with Mia was when we decided to talk only in English for a whole day. It was a challenge. We called it English Day from morning to night. No other language was allowed. At first, it was hard. I kept running out of words and had to describe things in funny ways. Once, I forgot the word umbrella and said, "That thing you use when the sky is crying." Mia laughed so hard, but she still understood me. "You mean an umbrella," she said, smiling. That day, I learned an important lesson. It's okay to use simple descriptions when you don't know the right word. You don't need to sound perfect all the time. Communication is like solving a puzzle. If one piece doesn't fit, you can try another way. This is a tip I always remember. If you don't know a word, describe it. People will understand what you mean. There was also a time I tried tongue twisters. Have you ever heard of those? They are short, tricky phrases that make your tongue dance. Like she sells seashells by the seashore. I tried saying it fast, but I kept messing up. Seesh. See. Oh no, I said, laughing. Liam told me, don't worry. Tongue twisters make your speech clearer. Just keep practicing, and he was right. After a few days, I could say them without getting stuck. You can try them too. They make speaking fun and help you improve your pronunciation. Once, my teacher asked me to write a short story in English. I was excited but also nervous. I thought, what if I make too many mistakes? Mia gave me the best advice, Jay. Just write like you are telling a friend a story. Don't worry about mistakes. So, I wrote about a small dog that wanted to fly. The story wasn't perfect, but I felt proud when I finished it. My teacher gave me a smile and said, "This is wonderful. See? You can write beautifully." That's another tip I want to share. Don't be afraid to write. Write anything, your thoughts, your dreams, or even silly ideas. Writing helps you organize your words, and if you make mistakes, it's okay. You can always learn from them. I started keeping a small diary. Each day, I wrote about my day in simple English. Some days were boring, but others were full of funny moments. Writing in a diary gave me a place to practice without any pressure. One thing that helped me a lot was learning new phrases. For example, instead of saying "I'm tired," I learned to say, "I'm worn out." It made my speech sound more natural. Mia told me native speakers use phrases like these all the time. It's like knowing the secret codes of the language. I started paying attention to these small phrases when I listened to people. And whenever I heard a new one, I tried using it in my own sentences. Do you know what else is helpful? Watching movies with subtitles. At first, I watched English movies with subtitles in my language. But as I got better, I switched to English subtitles. That way, I could see the words as I heard them. It felt like magic suddenly. I understood how words connected to each other. One of my favorite movies was Finding Nemo. I loved the way the characters spoke simple but meaningful. I started using phrases from the movie, like just keep swimming whenever things felt hard. There was one time I almost gave up learning English. I felt like I wasn't improving fast enough. But Liam said something I'll never forget, Jay. Learning a language is like planting a tree. You water it every day, but it takes time to grow. One day you'll wake up and see it has grown taller without you noticing. His words gave me hope. From that day on, I stopped worrying about how fast I was learning. I just enjoyed the process. Another thing that helped me improve was speaking with people from different countries online. At first, it felt strange talking to strangers. But I learned something beautiful. No matter where we come from, we all want to be understood. I made friends from different parts of the world, and we helped each other with English. Every conversation felt like opening a new window to a different world. One of my friends from Japan, Yuki, taught me a wonderful phrase: a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, that made me think. Learning English is a journey, and every word we learn is a step forward. Some steps might be small, and some might be big, but every step counts. When I think about it, English has become more than just a language to me. It has become a way to connect with people, share stories, and make new memories. Each word I learn is like adding a new color to a painting. The more I practice, the brighter my painting becomes. So, what about you? How has your journey with English been so far? What are the things you enjoy or find challenging? I would love to hear your story and walk this path together with you. Shall we keep going? There are so many more things to discover, and the journey never really ends. Let's keep walking, my friend. The road ahead is full of more stories, lessons, and laughs waiting for us. You know, one thing I learned along the way is that practicing English feels better when it's fun. You don't always need to sit with grammar books and rules. You can turn anything into a learning moment. Mia and I used to play a game called I Spy. One of us would say, "I spy with my little eye," something that starts with B, and the other had to guess the object. "Is it a book? A bag?" I'd ask. She'd shake her head until I got it right. "It's a balloon," she'd shout, and we'd both laugh. This simple game helped me think quickly in English. I started noticing how words connect to the things around me. Liam once told me another trick: use English even when you text. So we made a deal: whenever we texted each other, it had to be in English. At first, my texts were short and simple. Hi, how are you? But soon, they became longer. I'd say things like, I just saw a really cool movie today, or what's your plan for the weekend? I realized that writing texts helped me practice without even thinking about it. One day, I made a funny mistake in a text. I wanted to say, I'm on my way, but instead, I typed, I'm on my way. Mia replied with laughing emojis, and I quickly corrected it. We both laughed, and she said, mistakes make you learn faster. From then on, I stopped being scared of making mistakes. Every mistake was just another chance to learn something new. Another tip that worked wonders for me was telling short stories to myself. When I walked to school, I'd make up little stories in my head. For example, if I saw a cat, I'd think, once upon a time, there was a brave cat who wanted to climb the tallest tree. It sounds silly, but it made me feel more comfortable thinking in English. You should try it. Storytelling makes words flow more naturally. One of the best things about learning English is finding new words that sound beautiful. I remember the first time I heard the word butterfly. Doesn't it sound magical? I loved saying it over and over. Butterfly. Butterfly, Mia told me. Words have a melody of their own. Some words just make you happy to say them. From then on, I paid attention to words that sounded nice, like sunshine, and whisper it made learning feel more like a treasure hunt. One day, I got really curious about accents. I noticed that people from different countries speak English in different ways. Liam spoke with a British accent, and Yuki from Japan had her own way of pronouncing words. I realized something important. There's no single perfect way to speak English. English belongs to everyone who speaks it. It's like a garden where every flower looks different but beautiful in its own way. This gave me a lot of confidence. I didn't need to sound exactly like native speakers. I just needed to speak clearly and kindly. That's a tip I always share. Don't worry about your accent. Speak with your own voice. What matters is that people understand you, not that you sound perfect. Sometimes I practiced with tongue twisters to sharpen my pronunciation. My favorite one was, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It was tricky at first, but each time I tried, I got a little better. It's like playing a musical instrument. The more you practice, the smoother it sounds. One evening, Mia and I decided to watch a cooking show in English. We tried following the recipe step by step. Add 2 teaspoons of sugar, the chef said, and we scrambled to find the right spoon. It was chaos in the kitchen, but we had so much fun. That's when I realized that English is not just for speaking. You can use it to learn new skills like cooking, dancing, or anything else you love. Liam also taught me a great way to remember new words. Associate a word with something you already know, he said. For example, when I learned the word breeze, I imagined the cool wind on a summer day. Now, every time I feel a soft wind, the word breeze pops into my mind. Associating words with images or memories makes them stick in your brain like glue. Reading books helped me a lot too. One day, Mia gave me a simple but magical book called Charlotte's Web. It was about a pig named Wilbur and a clever spider named Charlotte. I loved every page. I realized that books are like doors to new worlds. They teach you words, but they also show you how to feel them. Each sentence in that book felt like a whisper, telling me, "Keep going, Jay. You're getting better every day." I also started keeping a vocabulary jar. Every time I learned a new word, I wrote it on a piece of paper and put it in the jar. At the end of the week, I'd pull out random words and try to use them in a sentence. It felt like a little game, and it made learning more exciting. Speaking of games, Mia introduced me to word puzzles and crosswords. They were like tiny challenges waiting to be solved. Each time I found the right word, it felt like winning a small prize. You can try these too. They help you learn without feeling like you're studying. As the days passed, English became a part of my life. I found joy in the small victories like ordering food in English, understanding a song lyric, or chatting with friends from other countries. Each moment reminded me that learning a language is not about reaching the end, but about enjoying the journey. So, my friend, what do you think? What are some things that make learning English fun for you? Do you have any games, stories, or tricks that you love? I'd love to hear about your journey. Let's keep walking this path together, step by step, word by word. There's still so much more to explore. Shall we continue?